everyone, this is Marika and welcome back to another session of Community Health Nursing. In our previous session, we have discussed about what is waste, what are the different sources of waste, what are the causes of waste, and also about the different types of waste. We've also discussed about the management of solid waste, where we have discussed the two major methods of managing the solid waste, which includes open dumping and controlled tipping. So let us quickly recall what waste is and what is open dumping and controlled tipping. Waste is useless, unwanted materials for which no use is intended. Waste can be found in three different states, which includes the solid waste, the liquid, and the gaseous waste, according to the form in which the waste exists. Now, solid waste is majorly produced by human and animal activities, and solid waste are the waste that causes environmental problems. Therefore, solid waste are to be managed properly. Management of solid waste includes the process in which we collect the solid waste. The solid waste is transported from the place where it is produced to the place of disposal, and finally the waste is disposed. In the process of solid waste management, we have collection of the waste, we have transportation of the waste, and finally methods of waste disposal. In methods of waste disposal, we have discussed about open dumping and controlled tipping. In this method, we are going to discuss about the other two methods of waste management, which is volume reduction method and composting. Let us first start with volume reduction method. From the term itself, we can understand volume reduction method is focused on reducing the volume of the garbage or the waste products. Under volume reduction method, we have different types or different methods that are done in order to reduce the volume of the waste products. The first one is called as incineration. Incineration is also called as burning of the waste, or we can also call it as burning of the waste in the presence of oxygen. The burning of the waste, as I said, does not mean burning out the waste in open and in a low temperature. It means burning the waste in very high temperature in the presence of oxygen in order to reduce the volume of the waste products. Another name of incineration is controlled flame combustion. Incineration is a form of waste disposal. It is a method of waste disposal where the waste products are burnt down in very high temperature in order to reduce the volume of the waste. After incineration, the waste product is turned into ashes, heat, and dust. Incineration as a method of waste disposal started in the year 1885. It was used for the first time during that time, and after a certain period of time, after 1952, it started becoming a popular method of waste disposal. As I said, in incineration, the disposal of waste is done by burning, and the volume of the waste is reduced by at least 20 to 30%. Let us now see what are the different advantages of incineration. Incineration helps to reduce the volume of the waste, which is the very first advantage of incineration. Land requirement for landfilling is also decreased, and in incineration, the transportation cost that is required to transport the waste from the place where it's produced to the place where it is to be disposed is also decreased. So there are three major merits of incineration. The first one is it reduces the volume of the waste product. The second one is the land requirement for landfilling is also reduced. And finally, it also decreases the cost for transportation of waste material from where it is produced to where it is to be disposed. Let us now see what is the disadvantage of incineration. Incineration is an expensive process for the installation and operation of the machines that are required for incinerating the waste products. It is an expensive process. So the first demerit is that it is expensive. The second disadvantage is that in incineration, if the air scrubbers are not used, then it causes air pollution. Okay, during the process of incineration, in order to make sure that the air that is produced out of incineration, if the tower scrubber is not used, then it causes air pollution. So what are scrubbers, or what is scrubbing? Scrubbing is a process in which poisonous gases and chemicals are chemically treated before they are released out in the air. So incineration incinerator will also have a tower scrubber where the gases, the heat that is produced out are chemically treated in order to decrease. The gases that are released after incineration are chemically treated before they are thrown out of the chimney. So if tower scrubbers are not used, then it is obvious that the gases are not treated chemically, and therefore the gases that are released out may cause various health hazards. Therefore, tower scrubbers are to be used. If tower scrubbers are not used, then it is obvious that it will cause air pollution. The second disadvantage is that if tower scrubbers are not used during the process of incineration, then it might cause air pollution. So what are scrubbers, or what is scrubbing? Scrubbing is a process where poisonous gases that are released after incineration are chemically treated before they are left out in the open through the chimney. Only once the gases are treated properly, it is released out in open. Therefore, the use of tower scrubber is necessary during the process of incineration, and if it is not used, it is obvious that it will cause air pollution, which is the second disadvantage of incineration. I hope you've understood the first method and the volume reduction method, which is incineration. Incineration is a process of burning the waste materials in the presence of oxygen in very high temperature in order to reduce the quantity, or in order to reduce the volume of the waste. After incineration, at least around 20 to 30% of the volume of the waste is decreased. The advantage of incineration is that it reduces the volume of the waste, and it also decreases the cost of transportation of the waste. But obviously, there are certain disadvantages as well for incineration, which is if the tower scrubbers are not used, then air pollution may be caused, and it is an expensive process as the operation and installation of incinerators cost a lot. The second method under volume reduction method is pyrolysis. Now, pyrolysis is also a process of combustion of the waste or burning of the waste, but here it is done in the absence of the oxygen. Pyrolysis is a process of combustion inside the chamber without the presence of the oxygen in the temperature of around 400 to 800 degrees centigrade. So pyrolysis is also a process of burning down the waste to reduce the volume of the waste, but it is done in the absence of the oxygen. So what are the merits of pyrolysis? The very first benefit of pyrolysis is similar to incineration, which is to decrease the volume of the waste. So again, in pyrolysis as well, we decrease the volume of the waste that is produced. And the second benefit of pyrolysis is that after pyrolysis, the end products are found to be stable. We also have disadvantages of pyrolysis. The first one is that it is an expensive method. And the second one is that the smoke that is released out causes air pollution. The third method we have under volume reduction method is shredding. Shredding is a process of volume reduction of the waste where the waste products are decreased into fine products. So pulverization of waste product is done in shredding. What is the meaning of the term pulverization? To reduce in the quantity. Here in shredding, the waste products are pulverized, which means it is reduced into fine particles, and then the fine particles are disposed in the field. So it is also one of the method of waste disposal. In shredding tries to reduce the volume of the waste by pulverizing the solid waste products, which means reducing the waste products into fine particles and then disposing it in the field. I hope you've understood what is volume reduction method, what is incineration, what is shredding, and also pyrolysis. As human beings, as we are the ones who produce the waste, what can we do in order to decrease the volume of the waste that we produce? The very first thing that we can do is efficiently purchasing and maintaining the product. So in order to reduce the amount of waste that we are producing, we have to efficiently purchase the product and maintain the product as long as the product can be used. Instead of wasting the product, instead of throwing away the product, it has to be maintained properly. There are certain points that we need to remember, such as purchase durable products. So products that are durable, products that will last for a longer period of time must be purchased. The second thing that we can do is to purchase reusable products. We know how important is reuse and recycle in today's world. Therefore, we need to purchase products that can be reused. The third thing that we can do in order to reduce the volume of the waste is to avoid excessive packaging of the material at the time of packing. So obviously, the packaging material that is used in order to pack something is a waste product. We throw it away. In order to avoid that, we need to make sure that the packaging is done minimal possible in order to avoid excess wastage. The next thing that we can do in order to reduce the volume of the waste is to use washable cloth bag instead of using a polythene bag while we go for shopping. So we shop every now and then for our household materials and also various other things. In order to make sure that the waste product is decreased, the volume of the waste product that we produce is decreased, we can use cloth bag instead of using polythene bag. The next thing that we can do is to buy only what is required. So when we buy something what is required, we make use of it. But when we buy things that are unnecessary over a period of time, and if we buy something that is not of any use to us, we'll keep it for a period of time and we will throw it away. So in order to avoid that, we need to buy only what is required for us. And the last thing that we can do in order to reduce the volume of the waste is to repair and maintain the product if there is only slight damage. So we have a habit of not using products once it is damaged a little, but instead of throwing that product away, which will increase the amount of waste that we produce, we can repair and maintain those damaged products. So these are the various ways through which we can reduce the volume of the waste we produce as humans. I hope you've understood what volume reduction method is and what we can do in order to reduce the volume of waste that we produce. Let us now see the last method of waste disposal, which is composting. Composting is a process where the refuse and the night swell or the sludge is combined for disposal. Here the waste products over a period of time, the organic matter over a period of time undergoes bacterial action and breaks down. Due to the breakdown, there will be formation of humus-like material which is called as compost. The compost is the organic material that has broken down due to bacterial action over a period of time. Therefore, it has a high manure value. The principal byproduct of composting is carbon dioxide, water and heat. The heat that is produced during composting is around 60 degrees centigrade or even higher, and with this heat, the larvae or the eggs of any kind of pathogenic organisms, flies, are destroyed. The end product, which is called as compost, contains very few or no disease-causing organism, and it is also found to be very rich in nutrients that is required for the growth of plants. For the process of composting as well, we have two different methods that are used, which is called as Bangalore method and mechanical composting. Let us first see what is Bangalore method and then we will discuss about composting. Bangalore method is a type of composting which was suggested after an investigation which was conducted by Indian Council of Agricultural Research at Bangalore. After the research was conducted in Bangalore, a method of composting was suggested, an anaerobic method of composting was suggested, which was known as Bangalore method of composting. In Bangalore method of composting, a trench is made. The depth and the width of the trench depends upon the amount of waste, amount of refuse and the night swell that is to be disposed. Usually a trench that is 3 feet deep and around 5 to 8 feet broad is made. But in this method, depths greater than 90 centimeters is not suggested because of slow decomposition. The trench that we made must be located at least 800 meters away from the city areas. In Bangalore method of composting, a layer of refuse is first spread out. The thickness of the layer at the bottom level will be around 15 centimeters. That is it for today's class. To summarize, today we have discussed about the two methods of waste disposal, which includes the volume reduction method and composting. I hope the class was helpful and I'll see you all in the next session. Thank you and have a great day ahead.